Kevin Durant, per league sources, prefers the Heat, Spurs, and Rockets, all three teams with no income tax. That's where he kind of wants to go to. He wants to get all of his money, and
You don't have
the
enough.
Timberwolves
Can never have enough.
He's got hundreds of millions.
The
Can never have enough,
Timberwolves are a
Dels.
team that can reemerge as a dark horse contender, but here is what is putting the wrench in these talks. Kevin
Rob
Durant
Dillingham.
doesn't want to go. I would not trade Rob Dillingham. Kevin Durant does not want to go to Minnesota. And Minnesota, although they have the best package, and the Suns are hoping that KD is willing to go to Minnesota, Minnesota does not want to trade for KD unless he says, I want to be in Minnesota. So that is the holdup right now, because the Suns, it seems as if they believe the Timberwolves have the best offer. They are ready to accept Minnesota's offer, but Minnesota was kind of like, hey, no, if KD doesn't want to come here, we're not going to trade for him. So now it's between the Spurs, the Heat, and the Rockets. That's where he wants to go to. And neither of those three teams, as reported, have made offers that have been good enough by the Suns reports. They feel like those offers have been underwhelming.
How did Taylor Jenkins left? Shocked.
Why is that?
I don't know. Didn't think I would hear that on this podcast, to be honest.
I don't know. I just feel like you look at the Grizzlies. And they,
KD topic.
So I just...
Taylor Jenkins, man.
we were talking, you know?
I get it. Last year, no Ja Morant. We knew that the season was dead, right?
Yeah.
When Ja Morant went down, we completely lost our belief in what they were doing. But we saw an uptick in Desmond Bane when he was on the court.
For sure.
We saw an uptick in Jaren Jackson when he was on the court. And then this season, I just think that we saw a complete performance by them. Considering Ja was not himself.
Neither was Bane.
But Bane still shot 39% from three.
He had an up and down year.
But I feel like that's also, we saw that from Bane because Jaren Jackson was now being looked at as that number two. And of course, now that Ja's back, he's going to get the ball in his hands a lot more.
I'm with you.
And Bane was the beneficiary of Ja missing time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Talking to Katie.
Facts. Now Kevin Durant.
Yeah, just Taylor, just in-game adjustments. His rotation management is pretty poor. That was probably about it. Kevin Durant.
Your guy. One of your favorite players ever.
If it's one of these three teams, where do you want to see KD go to? The Heat, Spurs, Rockets?
Was just about to answer that. Just want to say this. We're at it again. We are at it again.
You're not wrong at all.
This is
You're not
another
wrong.
full circle moment.
I
we
agree.
are back at talking about Kevin Durant going to a different team. We're back at it. We're
Couldn't
at it
be
again. It always seems to come back to Kevin
It
Durant.
was LeBron, so I can't.
I'll say this.
He went wherever he wanted.
I love him with the Rockets. I do.
That moves me.
Would you be rooting for Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Wow.
We would be,
To
let's
the
cop,
fucking
let's cop matching jerseys.
Don't know about all that. But I'll cop a men's jersey and we can.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Yo, that Houston KD jersey would be tough.
Yeah, listen.
And they can sign and trade for Harden.
No, we're good.
Stop.
We're good.
Harden,
Actually?
KD,
No,
Şengün, men.
We're
Took
good.
a step too far.
Hold on.
We're good.
I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm
Harden
not.
reunion with
back,
KD.
Harden back in
No.
Houston.
For what?
I'll be honest, I'm all aboard.
So we can watch him in Game 7 shit it up again? No, we don't need that,
He's not
man.
even-
But he'd
guy.
have KD this time around.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we don't need that. We got a men. We're good, bro. You know how the LeBron video with Ben Simmons? Right here. This is it.
Got a man.
We're good, bro. I'll say this, though.
So disrespectful.
This was really the truth, though. Like, we're good. But I'll say this. Spurs are good. I feel like with the Spurs, they have a lot more holes than Houston does. And I think Wemby covers up a lot of it. I also think they still need a lot more good players, actually. They have a lot of solid vets. Harrison Barnes played well last year. Keldon Johnson's cool. Devin Vassell's cool. We all have our different opinions on Devin Vassell. But Stephon Castle is a young rising player. You like Fox there. Jeremy Sohan is another player that's very odd. Very odd,
He's a
I would
great
say.
defender.
Great defender. Work in progress on the other end. They still need a foundation. I don't think they have that fully yet. They didn't even have Pop when they thought they would have Pop. They're still like that's still something that was real. You know what I'm saying? I look at Miami. It makes sense. Miami, tax, you don't have to pay
Does
that.
it make sense from basketball perspective?
Yes and no. I say no because I don't think he's going to win a championship. I also don't think he's in a mode where he's sitting there, he really cares too much about a championship.
Right about that.
I think Kevin Durant has always cared about competitive basketball. And I think if he goes to Miami, he can get competitive basketball. And the glow of all of that none of these teams have, he's going to play with the best coach in basketball. in Spo. Like
It's
playing
true.
with Spo, if you're Kevin Durant, for a guy that loves basketball the way he does, that's basketball heaven right there. So, but then I look at the Rockets, and of course it's the East. The East is it's good, it's getting better, but you get Kevin Durant, you're Miami, you don't have to give up Bam and Tyler Hero. You're sitting there like, all right, we may not be a top end team, but shake some shit up. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the Rockets, man, I just believe in the process. I believe in the process. I believe in what they're building. I believe in the fact that Kevin Durant can go in there. They can have a solid foundation on the defensive end. That way, he'll be like the 4th or 5th best player on defense. I believe the spacing is a little bit odd and clunky, but at the same time, this defense plays so hard, and offensively, they're able to get out in transition. They're able to make plays on the offensive glass. You know, they're able to work and get to that rim. I really do like this team, and what better way to go in and be that guy if you're Kevin Durant, where you don't have to be a super leader in Houston. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be that. You don't have to go in there and try to build this culture. It's a culture there. These young boys understand, these young men understand
Facts.
who they are, what they want to do. I don't think Kevin Durant goes in there. I don't think Kevin Durant had this big ego either. I don't think he's that type of guy where he goes in there and he fucks up a culture. I think the thing that would probably fuck them up is the narratives from beat reporters or, you know, just the outside world. I think Kevin Durant will go in there and he'd love the way those guys play on a night in, night out basis. I love Houston. I think they don't have to give up too much for him. I don't think a ton of young players they will have to give up to get him. I think that's a perfect place where he can ride off into the sunset, be extremely competitive, and Houston won't have to give up none of their prize players to go get him. I think that's the spot I want him to see him at.
This one's an interesting one because I'm with you, Riv. I think the Rockets would be my number 1 pick. That being said, if Miami had a legitimate 1, if they had a legitimate 1, I think my answer would 100% be the Miami Heat. Because you have that foundational piece in the back when you have not just Bam Adebayo, of course, but then on top of it, Khalil Ware and what he was able to bring this rookie season for them. So they have their front court set up as well. And then you just add the fact that Kevin Durant is just going to give you 27, 28 points on the most efficient thing and in the most efficient basketball possible. Tyler Hero took a huge step in his game. They need a true point guard. To me, it would not be Phoenix all over again because I think Phoenix had a lot more problems than just not having a real point guard. But having Spo there, it's just such an intriguing destination for me. Well, probably assuming Andrew Wiggins would have to be included in this trade. Who knows what other young pieces would be involved in the trade. But regardless, that foundation right there, Riv, I get where you're coming from. But with the Rockets, my only thing that I don't know if I fully agree with would be the leadership aspect. Because in terms of players, I feel as if, yes, that still would be him. I understand what you mean, though. Ime Udoka is obviously the leader of the group. He was that in Boston, but it kind of was him that initiated it on to Jason Tatum to be the leader of the group. Hey, Jason, this is your team. You need to go out there and be the guy. Yeah, Ime instilled that, but it also was on Tatum to be that on the court and be that with the guys in the locker room. It's different from hearing it from a coach, but hearing it from one of your teammates. That's one thing that I would disagree with. But other than that, you're spot on. You have such a strong foundation there defensively. The one thing that they're missing is a consistent score on a night in, night out basis. And Kevin Durant answers that 1,000%. Now, James Harden coming to the mix. It's a nice story. It's a nice narrative. I just don't know if I see Houston going all in on that regard because what they've gone all in on is having this young core and having these foundational pieces. But Kevin Durant, it doesn't wash away the timeline too much because I don't know if you're going to have to give away an arm and a leg to get this version of Kevin Durant, who, by the way, is still a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah, I think Houston needs him the most out of these 3 teams. If we're talking about a team that can take an actual leap from being they're just a damn 2 seed, but take a leap to be like a
respected
semi-serious contender, right? I don't think obviously we're not going to have them above like a Thunder or anything like that, but a team that could at a minimum win a playoff series, if not multiple. It feels like Houston definitely needs him the most, just someone that can be a go-to scorer, that can get a bucket at any time during the game. That was, of course, the number one thing they were missing because they were relying mostly on guys like Jalen Green, Şengün, Fred to do that, Amen Thompson here and there. They don't really have a guy that can go consistently get a bucket for them, especially in the playoffs. The Spurs is interesting because the latest reports that we've seen from the Spurs is that they could potentially be holding on to this package to try to obtain a bigger star or maybe a star that just fits their timeline more because I do wonder, you have Wemby, you made the big trade for Fox, and now you're going out and getting Kevin Durant. You're not speeding up the timeline because I think Wemby's ready to win right now.
They got a
Like,
player from every
Wemby's-
era. There's
Yes.
like old,
Wemby's-
kind of mid.
Wemby's, I think, right now, perfect team around him. You could go to the Western Conference Finals. Like if everything goes right, and who knows, maybe you go farther. That's how good Wemby has been through his short NBA career. But it does make me wonder, like, are you speeding this up a bit too much? Like, are you gonna go and trade, future draft capital or young players for Kevin Durant that the window's realistically probably only a couple of years when you could use all of the draft picks you have and these young players to potentially pair someone up with Wemby and Fox that fits this timeline where it's not just a 2-year window, but it's a realistic like 5 to 7 year window. Who that player might be, I don't have any off the top of my head, but we've seen, time and time again, people just become available out of nowhere. And maybe the Spurs would rather keep all of their assets now to potentially go and get a star, whether it's a Giannis down the line, or whoever it might be that becomes available. So that's the only thing I wonder from San Antonio is if they do want to hold off just a bit. And then for Miami, I hear what you guys are saying. I think you've sold me a little bit more than initially I thought, but I still wonder, like, Tyler Hero, Kevin Durant, Bam, Khalil Ware, whoever that fifth starter is going to be.
If they got to
it's a
keep
decent
Wiggins,
team.
I'd be really intrigued.
If you keep Wiggins, I'm definitely more
It's
intrigued.
not
really
'cause he'd be a
intrigued.
really
It's not
perfect
always
role
about a
player.
They
championship.
probably
man.
have to trade Khalil Ware to keep Wiggins.
Khalil Ware wasn't like the mock trades that I've seen.
Would you be upset
Isn't
at that
terrible.
if you're Miami?
No.
That definitely feels like more like, okay, we could go and really make a push. But it's not always about championship. But if you're going to get Kevin Durant, it's like we don't make the conference finals. You know,
yeah,
like you want to really
You're a
compete
Heat team
here.
that's been retooling.
But here's the
shit,
thing. I don't think any of these teams we mentioned could win a championship with Kevin Durant.
Nah, I don't disagree.
I
The one
agree.
other thing I want to mention is just the Knicks part of it, because the report came out that
He wants to go
Kevin
to the Knicks.
Durant wanted to go to the Knicks, but the Knicks didn't want Kevin Durant. I think part of that's probably just the money in the package, because you'd probably have to give up like either Cat to make the money work straight up, or multiple players to get up to the $50 whatever million contract. But yeah, I mean, KD in New York always felt like a perfect fit, but New York thinks
sorry,
otherwise.
The problem with the Suns is that they're not in rebuild mode. They want to retool around Devin Booker. So what they're prioritizing in all these trade talks are players, not picks. They want good players, and the Knicks package is Karl Anthony Towns. And a problem with that is that if they get Cat for KD, the Suns are still over the second apron. So they want to take in $41 million of salary. KD's on a $53 million contract. They want to take in $41 million to get below the second apron, so they're not hit with those penalties. So any team that is trying to trade with the Suns, they basically have to get to that $41 million threshold and then add some quality players that the Suns feel like, okay, Devin Booker can compete with this.
I would say that would be Minnesota, but then like, who's the second guy?
And that's the thing. And that's why the more this drags on, the more I just feel like any team trading for Kevin Durant, it would be a giant mistake. I think right now he is too old. Despite being a top 10 player in the league, he's on too big of a contract. Anywhere he gets traded to, he's going to be on an extension for 2 more years at $50+ million. And this isn't free agency. This isn't where he gets to pick his team and you throw him into the mix with all the talent these teams have. It's these teams have to trade for him. The Rockets, if they trade for Kevin Durant, you're giving up some of those young pieces because the Suns are prioritizing players over picks. If you're the Spurs, you have to give away some of that young talent, maybe some picks. The best player they could give up in a KD deal is Devin Vassell. But at that point, you got to trade him to a third team because Vassell, Beal, and Booker make no sense.
Or they trade De'Aaron Fox.
I don't think they trade De'Aaron Fox for Kevin Durant. I don't think so.
Is it nuts? You're about to draft Dylan Harper.
And here's the thing, is I don't think the Rockets are a Kevin Durant away from contending for a title. I don't think the Spurs in that scenario, if they trade De'Aaron Fox, I don't think Dylan Harper, Vassell, KD, and Wemby could win a title either.
Could they do it next year?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Not this upcoming year, 2 years.
That's
I think
what Dylan Harper looks like.
it's a lot of projecting.
It is.
And if you're Minnesota, KD has said he doesn't want to go to Minnesota, and Minnesota's looking like, okay, then we don't want to trade for you, because if Minnesota makes the KD move, they have to get rid of 4 rotation players. Rudy Gobert has been dangled in the trade talks. You're probably not bringing back Julius Randle. Dante DiVincenzo probably goes in the trade. So if you're losing 3 to 4 quality players, is it worth trading for Kevin Durant? I don't think them trading Rudy Gobert, who is the anchor of their defense, and putting KD in there makes them a better team.
I think you said some interesting things. I do think retooling for the Suns doesn't make sense. Not saying that you're wrong on what they're saying. Also think if you have a team like Houston who's dangling, we don't have the players, but we have the 10th overall pick.
We have your future pick.
We have your future pick and like maybe 2 players. I think Phoenix they can be just a dumb, and I know everybody thinks like this, but I don't think Suns are going to sit there like, we can't deny this. Like
Houston has their 2026 pick, I believe.
No.
Right?
2025
No.
and 2027.
2026 just went to
It went to the Grizzlies.
Oh, right. And the
welcome
Magic
AJ
deal.
DeBonsa to the Grizzlies. We're here. It's done.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what screws it all up is that the Suns can't realize.
They don't know what they
to do.
want.
Oddly enough, I think the Miami Heat, despite not having the Wemby level talent or the Rockets level of success in the regular season, I think the Miami Heat are better positioned within their own conference to make a deep playoff run if they plop Kevin Durant into their infrastructure. I think with Bam, Hero, and KD, it is more likely they could go on a Eastern Conference Finals run than KD going to the Rockets and then going on
The
the WCF
Rockets
run.
were just a
If hypothetically the Rockets had Kevin
they
Durant
were
this
just
run,
a
they could have went to
2 seed,
WCF.
Joel.
Who they
Like,
play in the
I
second
need
round?
some
Thunder?
fairness.
They would have played if the Rockets had Kevin Durant in this run.
Yeah.
They
They
could have
would've played
beat the
Minnesota
Warriors
in
and
the
they could have
second
beat
round.
Minnesota. They would have been sitting
Come
in the
on,
WCF.
Joel.
I don't know
If
if
it's not OKC,
I agree.
I don't
know if
see-
they would have been Minnesota, but it would have been a good.
you're not sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is a wash." No, you're
They
like, "All
could
right,
have beat Minnesota.
Houston has a
okay.
chance." If you go into the Heat, Kevin Durant, Bam, and Hero, you thinking like, okay,
Sure. If you plop them
Upset.
into the team as is. But what the Rockets would have to trade,
Who?
Jabari Smith would have to probably be in that
He missed
deal.
We don't know
majority of
that.
the season.
Dylan
Dylan Brooks, yes.
I'm hearing
Dylan
you.
Brooks
I'm
would
just
have
saying.
to be in that deal.
Yes.
That would
Yes,
sting.
he's probably- yes.
That would
That hurts.
sting because of what he means for them
but
defensively.
defensively, I
and
think
shit.
they'll
KD.
still be
100
fine.
It's
It's
KD. So,
No, it's KD.
but I say Jabari missed already majority of the season.
And I
They
don't
were
think you
winning
have to give up
basketball
Jabari and Tari. I don't think you'll have to give up.
But you have to
the
give
other.
up one of them.
I'd rather give up Tari.
And I think the Suns
Really?
right now,
I like Jabari's
I
skill
don't
set.
hate it.
for-
that's
for
the
that
holdup
team.
I
with the
don't hate
trade.
it.
I think they've been underwhelmed with offers because the Rockets are saying, we can give you back your picks, but the Suns are
that's
saying,
perfect.
we want the players. We want Jabari.
So
we
dumb.
want
They're
Reed
so
Shepherd.
dumb.
I don't think so because I don't think Houston has a lot of players to even give up. Like if they
Cam
want
Whitmore
if
would
they
have to
want,
go.
if they
They
want
do.
no because if they want good players,
Yes.
like good legitimate players to
Jalen gone?
retool around Devin Booker. How many does
Jalen
Houston
and Debo
legitimately have?
backcourt.
It makes no
Brooks.
sense.
Like
And
outside of Dylan Brooks, how many players does Houston have to legitimately build a good retooling team around the Suns?
Jabari. I would say Dylan Brooks.
you have to take
Fred.
a fire on Reed.
And that's what I'm saying.
You
That's
have
not.
to
That's
fire
still a wait. A wait. And so you
But
don't have
that's
many.
a good retool. Of all the ones,
And Fred is at 44.
Agreed. That's
I
a
think he could
lot.
decline though, make a new deal.
But
Yeah,
I say that
sign and
the
trade.
Suns
Yeah, you
need.
wouldn't be able to get Dylan and Fred
No,
if you're
no.
Phoenix.
But the Suns need a point guard. Suns need
And
defense.
Houston kind of wants. They're like okay with giving up Fred.
I know, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you want to hear a retool? Fred, Dylan Brooks, Jabari. My son's pick. I'll be honest. That should be a done deal if I'm the Rockets.
And you think about it, like Fred VanVleet,
That's fine with Houston.
after game 3, averaging like 24 for the Rockets in the playoffs.
And I'm not going to say that that's not a decent amount. Like what
That is.
that's a decent amount. That Suns pick
For
and
expiring deal?
Jabari
Yeah.
and Dylan and Fred for how clutch he was for them in that Warriors
Yeah.
series. You get Kevin Durant. Now Tari gets more opportunity. Amen obviously now gets to run the show. You still have Jalen Green, which God willing he could learn some things from my brother Kevin Durant.
Or get traded.
What's tough about it is just the
Not to do
fact that
Rick.
the Suns want a starting center. They need one desperately.
Maybe that's why they
And
Steven
signed
Adams.
Steven Adams.
Wait, but now is
I don't
there
know
a
if he
deal
should
that he
trade
can't get
Richards.
traded until?
he's older.
Yeah.
I
so I
have
don't
no
know.
idea,
He's,
but
he's older. I
Because
don't
that
know.
is a terrible rule too. by
Nick
the way,
Richards was the starting center last year when they got him, and he was just
wasn't-
god awful.
was he?
He was terrible. When he was on
Well-
the court, they let like a 127 defensive rating.
Oh,
Is that his
outside
fault
of
mainly, or
The
just
whole team sucks.
how many of the well,
Center plays a huge role in it.
I
Miami
disagree.
doesn't have a starting center to give them.
Kalo?
No,
Oh, to retool. Like, are you relying on Kalel 82 games in the West
no.
without Bam on your
But if you
hip
could
side?
get Ware and you could get Wiggins,
But that's
Now
why
you
the
got a
Wolves are
couple
kind of saying
Like the
Rudy
Wolves are the only
Gobert-
team with a center.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert's the best player. If they don't get a center from the Rockets or the Spurs, they need to trade with a team like the Nets that maybe could offer Nick Claxton, so then he could go to.
Is
the
Nas
Suns.
immovable?
I don't think the
Him at the
Wolves
five,
want to
I
move
don't
Nas.
know.
The Wolves don't want to move him. That makes sense to me.
I don't think they want him.
I hear what you're saying though. Their Heat make the
Suns?
most sense.
Like, for
'Cause
him
they're in
starting
this
the 5
period
all
now.
year?
You know what I mean?
The Heat are like, listen, we don't have no young core to worry
Yeah.
about. We kind of just need to be as competitive as possible.
Where the Heat are kind of like, we're trying to win. We're just not good enough. The Rockets and the Spurs are like, we're young. Getting Kevin Durant would be cool, but we
Wouldn't
still
hurt.
have this young core.
Like you think about it. Let's say the deal is. Let's say there's two scenarios. One, the centerpiece is Wiggins. One, the centerpiece is Ware. The Wiggins deal, the Suns might want Khalil Ware in both, but if you're getting Wiggins, I don't think you're also getting Khalil Ware. So if you get Wiggins, you
Why is
probably
that a one-off deal?
I don't
because
think it is,
I
sadly.
think they're together.
I think regardless how you shake it, they are.
let's play by those rules then.
Okay.
Let's say the
Sorry,
Suns get Andrew Wiggins and Khalil Ware and somebody else like Duncan
Yeah, let's
Robinson
throw his 19 in there.
because they'd have to do that.
Getting paid
The
that much
Heat
is
now
nuts.
have Davion Mitchell, Hero, KD, Haywood Highsmith, Bam. Off the bench, Hawkes,
Ooh,
Jovic, yeah.
Hawkins, man.
Rozier would still be on the team.
Jesus
He was
Christ.
awful last year.
That bench is dog shit.
But that would be the Heat's squad.
It's a
Essentially.
decent team. That's a top 5 team.
I mean, the starting 5 is, I like it. The
Forget
bench,
about the Magic.
God bless.
6.
Thank you.
God bless that bench.
Yeah, the bench is dog shit. Maybe Jaime has a bounce back. I like what Jovic
we
has
could
done.
definitely
Terry
hope for it.
Rozier.
God willing. I have no comments
Maybe
on that.
Oh, they also
remember
have-
be good at basketball.
Kyle Landerson
Yikes.
is on the team.
All right.
Slow-mo's a solid
And
role
Kevin
player.
Love is
No
still
buckets
there.
off the bench.
He could
No,
be their sixth
never.
man. Not gonna lie.
Kevin Love is still there.
Oh, dude, we're just.
He's hanging him up.
He has to. No offense to yo, Hall of Fame.
Legend.
Legend.
Hall of
Champion.
Famer?
Guessing?
Okay.
We put some other guys in there.
That's
You're
why
not
if it was me, I
DeMar
probably
DeRozan,
would.
Hall of Famer?
I would
We
rather
put some guys
say
in there.
I'll give you Khalil Ware, I'll give you Duncan Robinson, and I'll give you like Jovic or Hawkes,
The money doesn't work though.
and I'd give you a pick. They probably would have to throw in Rozier in there for the contract.
Yo, if the Suns accept that, you deserve to be bad.
Yo, bro, the backcourt of Rozier and Devin Booker doesn't move.
Devin Booker's definitely gonna
Rozier
actually
and
trade.
Bradley
next
be
day.
on the same team is
Because
crazy.
I think Davion with Hero, with Wiggins,
Davion
KD,
fits
and
well
Bam,
with that
Yo,
starting
that's on
5.
me. I forgot about
They
Davion.
just have
That's
to re-sign
on
him.
me.
That's all.
Davion played pretty solid
He
minutes
did.
for them
He's
down the
going back.
stretch.
He'd be
Let
a
me say-
perfect role player.
Let me also say this. I know we talk about the Luka deal being the worst deal in NBA history.
Still is.
Is the Bradley Beal deal not up there?
Yeah, by far. But it wasn't a much.
No, they didn't give up much, but how
It's
they
what they've
constrained
done to
their
their
team
roster.
by
No, they
getting
gave up a
Bradley
lot.
Beal.
They gave up like 5 years worth of first round
They,
pick
so
swaps.
they gave up a lot of swaps. Yeah.
Painful.
First round?
Swaps.
First?
Yeah. They gave up maybe
This must
3
be him fresh off
first
the
round
third.
pick swaps.
Suns? I thought it was a ton of seconds.
They
Might
gave
have
up
been
a ton of seconds too.
I think it was like
First?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
only remember 5
No,
seconds.
They gave up a ton of first round
No
I
picks.
also remember
way.
seconds, yeah.
Yeah. Let me get the full trade details here.
Yo, bro, I dead only remember 5 seconds.
Yeah. That been on Father's.
That was like a Jake Crowder deal.
So Suns land Bradley Beal in a swap. The Wizards get Chris Paul, Landry Shamet. Chris Paul ended up getting them Jordan
Mhm.
Poole. Bilal Coulibaly, because they traded the pick for Jarris Walker with the Pacers. 2024 first round pick swap. 2026 first round pick swap.
Wow.
2028 first round pick swap. 2030 first round pick swap. That 2026 first round pick swap, Orlando just traded it to Memphis. And basically how that works is it's basically weird, bro. The Knicks also own some rights with that pick.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks own the Wizards 2026 first round pick, but it's top 8 protected. If the Wizards finish within the top 8, then Memphis would get the worst of
much to go
Orlando
through.
and Phoenix's pick.
So Phoenix's pick.
Yes, exactly. Phoenix's pick. If the Wizards don't finish in the top 8, then they get the better of Orlando and Phoenix's pick still.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea about the swaps.
Yeah, I forgot about the swaps.